activists, and defenders across Asia. Our mission is clear: to defend democracy, protect civic space, and mobilize movements across borders.
Welcome to the Asia Democracy Assembly 2025, where voices from across Asia unite to defend democracy, mobilize movements, and redefine new frontiers for citizen action.
Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
The Asia Democracy Network was born from a simple belief: that democracy is stronger when we fight for it together. Since 2013, we have been a coalition of civil society organizations, activists, and defenders across Asia. Our mission is clear: to defend democracy, protect civic space, and mobilize movements across borders. We are not one voice. We are many. We are workers, students, community leaders, writers, and human rights defenders. We are in 30 countries across Asia, confronting shrinking civic spaces, rising authoritarianism, and the erosion of public institutions. We are a network, but more than that, we are solidarity in action. We expose autocratic control, resist disinformation, we reclaim captured institutions, we mobilize youth leadership and amplify voices from the margins. We turn repression into resilience, because authoritarians share their playgrounds, and so must we. The Asia Democracy Network is not only defending democracy, we are reimagining it. A democracy that is inclusive, intersectional, people-powered. Democracy rooted in justice, dignity, and freedom for all. We are the Asia Democracy Network. We are here. We are many. We are fighting back. And together, we will build a democratic future that cannot be taken away. Across Asia, civic space is shrinking, authoritarianism is rising, and voices for justice are under threat. Yet from Myanmar to Bangladesh, Hong Kong to Afghanistan, movements are resisting, adapting, and imagining a different future. The Asia Democracy Assembly is ADN's flagship gathering, a space to strategize, stand in solidarity, and shape a bold, collective agenda for democratic transformation. Building on the momentum of past assemblies, including the 2023 gathering in Bangkok, the Assembly has grown into a truly regional platform. That year, over 250 participants from more than 30 countries. came together across 13 thematic sessions, 3 RISE talks, and 4 RISE huddles. It was a milestone year, celebrating ADN's 10th year anniversary and launching the South Asian Youth Democracy Network. This year, the Assembly takes a step further. For the first time, it is embedded within International Civil Society Week, bringing Asia's struggles and solutions to a global stage. Over 3 days, we will unpack the toughest challenges: technology and AI, disinformation, securitization, populism, institutional capture, and the struggles of marginalized voices. We'll learn from resistance movements, explore tactical innovations, and build strategies for regional solidarity. From thematic discussions to plenaries, and finally, to our strategy session. The Assembly will produce a roadmap for action, the democracy agenda, guiding ADN's work and collective advocacy across the region.
Thank you, everyone. I'm just going to pretend that that's for me, so thank you. My name is Jay Koo. I'm from Zone D, D standing for democracy or diversity as well. So welcome, everyone. Now, I understand that conferences like this can be a little bit serious, can be a little bit formal, so we're going to do it differently this year. We're going to make it fun and exciting and lighthearted. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah? So first of all, how's everyone doing this morning? Oh, come on. You can do better than that. One more time. Welcome to Asia Democracy Assembly 2025. How's everyone doing? That's the spirit. Thank you so much. And now it's going to be a long day, but of course it's going to be a great day as well. So today we are going to, of course, share. We're going to learn, and most importantly, we are going to connect as well. So in the name of connection, is it okay for us to spend just about 30 seconds, turn to the person to your left, to your right, in front and behind you, and share just one word, what democracy means to you. Is that okay? Just one word. Okay, everyone start. Let's do it. Just turn around. Shout out as well. What does it mean to you? Does it mean courage, freedom? Does it mean Wi-Fi? What does it mean? There you go. Thank you so much. All right, you can be now. There you go. That's right, say hi. There's a lot of familiar faces here. Thank you so much, and you can now be seated once again. That's right, thank you, everyone. The theme for this year is defending democracy, mobilizing movements and new frontiers for citizen action. So once again today, we are going to learn so much from each other. I am going to ask for your help, okay? It is really hard for us to invite some of the special guests here today. So once I introduce them, is it okay for us to treat them like superstars and just make a lot of noise for them? Yeah? That's right. To kickstart, we are going to have the number one superstar, the opening remarks from the Secretary General of Democracy of Asia, Democracy Network, Mr. Ichal Supriyadi. Everyone! Woohoo! That's right.
It's a very wonderful MC, right? It can really make everybody excited, in the Sunday morning. So it's bringing new energy for all of us. And then I guess it is my pleasure to welcome you back to the Asia Democracy Assembly 2025. I think for the esteemed colleagues, friends, and comrades in the path of democracy, I think we gather here in the challenging times for democracy. We all know that the stories, articles, statements, say that, indicating that. But we are not here to be disheartened, not to be cry all the times that what we lost. I think this conference is providing space for us together to try something and try something harder. We should declare in this place, in this different convergence, if we will not stand idle by, but resist the best we can. What is that? Resist the best we can. This is really a great opportunity and a space for us to unite, to innovate, and to transform this critical moment into turning points. I think this is all depend on us, whether we have to just formalities attending this kind of ceremonial works or meetings and returns and doing nothings, or we can do anything that we can in our best to starting some things. This year's assembly takes place within International Civil Society Week. As you may already say, yesterday we attending the openings by Thammasat. And alongside the Asia Pacific Social Forum, as Asia is inseparable from the global fight for human dignity and freedom. At the end of these events, ADN and Civicus will deliver, it's already displayed here, ADN and Civicus will deliver a message to the global communities and leaders, demand for immediate accountability to the democracy and human rights. You might access the barcodes and participate endorsing it by November evening times. And we are still in conversation with Asia Pacific Social Forums, similar statement or similar acts to call for global attentions. The Asia Democracy Assembly theme this time is defending democracy, mobilizing movements, and new frontiers for citizen actions. As it is in line with ADN strategic planning, action 2024-2028. So everything is in linings. And from the recently released Democracy Outlook 2024 report, which grounds our conversation in data and regional analysis, we will include and then from our sub-regional consultation held in September, which highlight the states of democracy across Asia. And from the thematic session and sectoral dialogues that we organized yesterday, that examines the most urgent challenge facing our society. And today and the next day, we will build on this insight by learning from each other, sharing lessons of resistance. So we hope today, plenaries, we will not hearing anymore about my problems, your problems, but this is our problems and how you demonstrating action to resist. We're going to learn among each other. And tomorrow, on November 3rd, we invite a number of the people to structure new strategy that perhaps useful as a guidance and navigation to the next 2 years focus work on democracy in Asia. On this assembly, you will see amongst you, we invite more youth and Gen Z participants from multiple fronts as we recognize the brilliant light comes from the most powerful rise of the new generations. The Gen Z activists are not just inheriting our movement, but they're reinventing them. With digital fluency, in my generation, I'm not really fluent, but they have these strengths. They have built the centralized, agile, and incredible resilience movements. They already showed to us their patience. When organized, is a force that power cannot ignore, but we also stand on the shoulder of generation who came before us. We respect the wisdom and leadership who taught us that democracy is not inherited. It is built and defended again and again. These all serve as invaluable resources where intergenerational organized to become powerful forces. When we seek inspirations for what is possible in the coming future, we just need to look at the South Korea, France, their candlelight revolution and the Renaissance movement stand as a monumental testament to the power of peaceful, persistent, and popular struggles. We saw millions of the citizens united in purpose, demonstrated the profound resilience of the democracy society. They able to peacefully and orderly march and held the highest office accountable, remove detrimental leaders, and defended their constitutions. They proved to the world the will of the people when they unified and unwavering is the ultimate safeguard of democracy. Let their victory be a beacon for all of us. Our task now is to ask ourselves, how do we support and sustain incredible momentum? How do we channel this all energy, expertise that present in this room to develop, to think, to imagining new movement and utilize this moment to advance our struggle? So let us begin with a sense of profound opportunity. Let us be inspired by the courage of the new generations and learn from the wisdom of the elders. Both will produce a powerful movement. Let us commit here and now to working together to shine the existing light for a just and democratic future. Let me kick off the Asia Democracy Assembly plenaries by quote Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, "In the midst of the darkness, light persists." I thank you and have a productive engagement on this conference. You all the stars. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Inchal. Everyone, one more time, big round of applause for Inchal. I love the videos. It does make you feel like they're rock stars, right? So once again, this is very special. We have a very, very, very special guest with us here this morning to deliver the message of solidarity. She is the special rapporteur of the Freedom of Assembly and Association of the United Nations. Everyone, once again, please treat her like a rock star, Gina Romero.
So good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here with you today. I hope you are seeing me because I know that I'm very short. I just want to thank the Asian Democratic Network for the invitation, but also for the immense effort they put in, and along with the Civicus and other convening organizations, to make this mega event a success, especially during these difficult times. Although every year brings its challenges, 2025 has been one of the worst for civil society that I can recall in the 25 years that I've been close to the sector. And at this moment, I want to honor all the sacrifices that you, your organizations, your families, and your loved ones have had to make to keep going amidst the storm, to remain steadfast in pursuing your missions and objectives, to sustain the more pressing activities in a world where rights, freedoms, democracy, and the rule of law are under constant attacks. where the more vulnerable groups are suffering setbacks in the progress of recent years, and where organizations and individuals, including human rights defenders and journalists, working for agendas that advance rights, strengthen democracy, and protect victims, are being stigmatized, persecuted, criminalized, and defunded. The fact that Civicus and ADN have managed to organize this week of activities, bringing together like more than 1,000 people I heard yesterday, demonstrate two things that are important and I want to highlight today. One is the tremendous power of collective action and civil society and its fundamental role in times of crisis. When civil society and social movements see a crisis, they don't hide. They just go out and work. And when the sector itself is attacked, they don't jump out of the ship just to find individual saving. They come together, share information, co-create solutions, find the strength and inspiration in each other, and keep working. That resilience is at the center of the power of the collective action, and I hope you see it as clear as I see it. The second thing is that the importance of organizations and associative efforts at all levels. In the midst of the funding crisis that we have now, there have been much criticism over the sector. And perhaps some of that criticism is valid and is true, but we also need to conduct careful and respectful analysis, just going beyond what it is like the ISIS analysis that some people do before. So for example, much has been said about the need to increase the capacity of grassroots, local organizations by reducing the intermediation of second or third tier organizations or actors. And while I can agree that we need stronger grassroots and more connection with them, without a doubt, the role that organizations like ADN and Civicus plays is vital, because the articulation you provide to all the actors of the ecosystem is indispensable for the collective dance that we all must perform to connect the most specific realities to the global trend. So we have to work in every branch of every tree that I think that there are. You are the branches of the different trees. But if we don't see the forest, we can lose the possibility of protecting it in its entirely. And that's what networks as ADN and different levels of associations allow. So let us never forget this. At the end, only with local, national, regional, and global solidarity is that we can overcome the current crisis and the ones to come, because this is not the last one. And this includes not only the work of civil society and movements, it also includes donors, academia, the international community, including me as a special rapporteur, and many other actors. And this is more urgent now than ever, in which a global concerted attack on rights, freedoms, and democracy are deployed, and civic space is shrinking rapidly. I don't need to tell you what the crisis we are in is about. We have the decline of democracy worldwide, we have the crisis of the multilateralism, and right now, the change in the financial landscape and the securitization of the agendas that are actually harming very deeply the possibilities of each of us in this room to do the work that we want to do. And then this has been done by using many different nasty tactics, the spread of hostile narratives, and I guess that many of you have been subjected to these narratives that call you foreign agents, enemies of the nation, terrorists, anti-developments, spies, violence, etc., and that is sparking and justifying criminalization, harassment, persecution, detention, violence, and others. And also the adoption of restrictive or ill-intended restrictive laws and regulations against collective action, including regulations that make each time harder the use of protest as a tool of express of discontent, and the securitization of the public discourse and political agenda that go hand to hand with the dissemination of anti-right agendas, and the increase of this false idea in the trade-off between security and freedoms and rights, which is a lie. And then also the growing use of technologies, especially surveillance, to curtail rights. And the restrictions of the right to protest, including the excessive use of force, the misuse of less lethal weapons, in some cases lethal force, and that is costing too many lives, the well-being of many people, including young people, who are always on the forefront of the protest. We see all this in Asia. I don't need to give you the details because you know perhaps better than I. But what I do want to tell you is that in the midst of this, I am very hopeful. And I'm hopeful not because the situation will improve anytime soon, but because of the strength, the resilience, the passion I see here in civil society and also in youth action and movements. A couple of days ago, I participated in a conference, in an event about protests in the Thammasat University. And at the end of the event, a 16-year high school student came to me. And she told me that she needed a sort of guidance on how to enter the human rights protection world because she was very angry. She told me she was very angry of everything that was happening in the world and everything that was happening in his country. She is Thai. And then I could feel her anger, but also I felt the eagerness to learn and to act, to foster changes. And that is a goal of mine. And I felt very moved by her words and emotions in the same way that I feel very moved and hopeful with all your strength and your capacity to actually articulate and come together to work in the midst of the crisis. Worldwide and in Asia also, in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, in the Philippines and many other countries, we have seen Gen Z revolutions and we need to be there for them. We need to support them, to protect them, to honor their wisdom while we guide them. And we need to learn from them also. Youth have always been at the center of the defense of rights, democracy, and dignity. And they will always be. So I guess that if I will do a survey, how many of the people who is here that is not young anymore, including me, had some youth activism in the past? And I will find I am already seeing some nodding faces. So this is why it is so important to keep fostering the youth participation. To all the young people that is in the room, thanks for everything that you do. I was many years ago a young activist, and I know how difficult it is to make people listen and value what you do. But you are actually the ones who are supporting our work and ensuring the sustainability of our fights. I will be doing next year a report on Gen Z movements, organizations, and protests. So please just help me to think how can I be closer to all these Gen Z movements and how to collect information in a way that read their languages, their processes, their meeting spaces, and how to use the report to actually support them on their behalf. To end, I need to insist, and this may sound very simple, but I think it's very powerful, and we need to grasp on that. Those who want to curtail rights, especially the rights of freedom of expression, assembly, and association, are completely wrong, because these actors believe that these rights can be eliminated. They think that these rights are like a hat that you can take off and on. But in turn, it turned out that these rights are part of our shared humanity. These rights are at the heart of who we are as human beings, and they represent our basic needs as human. The fact that they were later codified as right and the protection articulated in the international legal instruments that we have now is a development of our societies, but it is not an intervention, it's not an imposition. Rather, it's a recognition of what is already there in our humanity. The fact that you and we all are here today in the midst of the profound crisis that we are experiencing is a living proof that no matter how harsh the attacks are, as long as there are human beings on the face of the earth satisfying their basic needs for connection, for sharing with others, for staying together to solve problems, to celebrate, to create, and to love, these rights will always exist. Let us keep us together to fight, but also let's take care of ourselves. These fights are too heavy. And the impacts on our bodies, minds, and hearts and souls is too high also. But if we stick together and share the burden, perhaps we can lighten this harm and increase the joy of our collective work. I really, truly honor the things that every single of you do, that the things that your organizations and movements do. And I'm here also to stand along with you to fight. And thank you. I wish you a fruitful assembly over these days and a fruitful day today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina, for that beautiful message. And Gina, in your speech a while ago, you mentioned that many years ago you were a young activist. Well, I disagree. I think that you're still a young activist now. So thank you so much for that. Everyone, you agree, right? Big round of applause one more time for Gina. And now, to give the welcome remarks, we are going to have another special appearance of the member of the House of Representatives of Thailand. Everyone, please put your hands together and welcome Parit Vajarasin.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. So I think I want to begin today by firstly thanking the Asia Democracy Network for inviting me to be a part of this opening day of the Assembly in 2025, and also thank you for all your efforts in putting this together. I think when I was born just over 30 years ago, democracy was probably seen by many as a universal good, as a target that we should all strive towards. But remarkably, 30 years on, a child born into this world is now more likely to be born to an undemocratic regime than a democratic one. Right? And it seems that not a single country is safe from this democratic backsliding. Even amongst the countries where democracy has long been seen to be the only game in town, democracy cannot be taken for granted. We here in Thailand have never taken democracy for granted. As you may know, since our democratic transition about 90 years ago, we've had 13 military coups, I believe the highest in the world during that period. So when you come to Thailand today and you do the math, you may think that things are looking pretty good in Thailand. Because if you calculate the numbers, you will realize that we have had on average a coup every 7 years. But right now in Thailand, we have now gone over 10 years without a coup. So on the surface, you may think this is good news. But that statistic does not tell you the full picture. Because what we have seen in Thailand is a political system that has somewhat constitutionalized the coup. A political system that allows for unelected and unaccountable powers to still be able to contradict the will of the people expressed through the ballot box without having to bring out the tanks. Let me give you some statistics to back up that statement. Although Thailand has now had 2 general elections since the latest coup, the party that came first in those elections has never been in government. We have had 2 parties in parliament dissolved, 2 prime ministers removed from office by the Constitutional Court. We've had several politicians banned from running for office, some for a lifetime. One case in particular, simply for a Facebook post that she posted when she was a university student. We have had a university lecturer threatened about her book on the army. We've had a university professor forced to spend a night in jail for a blurb written about him at an academic seminar. And we have had several university students forced into exile or imprisoned for their political involvement. We've had defamation lawsuits against academics and investigative journalists filed by big corporations, as well as filed by the Deputy Prime Minister. And we've had several agencies that have been set up to tackle corruption who themselves have been questioned by the public over their transparency. While I believe that some of the details that I mentioned are pretty unique to Thailand, I believe the underlying problems are not. I believe that many of you sitting in this room today can say that you are from a country that faces similar problems, a country that is facing an electoral or political system that is rigged or does not give every side an equal shot at winning the election and getting into government. You may be from a country that has a system of checks and balances that can be infiltrated or dominated by certain groups to be skewed in their favor. Many of you may be from a country that has a government that is incentivized to survive by centralizing their grip on power rather than incentivized to innovate on policies. You may be from a country that has a civic space that is being increasingly restricted, both on ground and online, by the criminalization of dissent, as well as state-engineered disinformation campaigns. You may be from a country that has seen a strengthening partnership between rent-seeking politicians, corrupt state officials, exploitative monopolies, and unelected autocrats. Now, of course, I know giving this opening remark, simply just summarizing the problems that we're all facing is not going to make those problems go away. So for me, I personally believe that the priority for us, democracy defenders, over the next decade or so, will be on three key battlegrounds that we need to win. The first battle is a battle at an institutional level. Now, I'm aware that in many of the countries, not all political institutions are open up for elections or open up for public participation. But we here in Thailand always tell ourselves that every ballot is an opportunity for change. When we at the Move Forward Party ran in a general election a couple of years ago, we knew that winning the election may not get us into government because the military-appointed senators still had a vote on who becomes prime minister. And even though that turned out to be exactly true, the fact that we became the largest party in parliament at least meant that we could force through certain progressive laws, such as the Equal Marriage Bill, such as the demonopolization of the liquor industry, as well as now hopefully forcing a referendum on the drafting of a new constitution that will happen earlier next year. When some seats in Thailand at the Social Security Board was opened up for election for the first time ever in history a couple of years ago, the fact that many of our allies decided to compete and ended up winning those few seats in the board meant that we now have a Social Security Board that has increased our returns 2 or 3 times, as well as extensively upgrade our workers' healthcare rights. Therefore, no matter how big or small the institution, no matter how much the odds are stacked against our favor, we pro-democracy defenders must try to compete at ballot boxes, because at the end of the day, elections are not always easy for autocrats to write pre-prepared scripts for. The second battleground that I feel is important is a battle of information, especially in the online space. In a world of advancing technology and AI, it has now become much easier for people to get access to information online. But on the flip side, it's also become easier to generate and distribute convincing fake news and convincing fake content online as well. While we may conventionally see the online space as an opportunity to democratize access to information, the autocrats also see this as an opportunity to capture the space by restricting dissent and using state apparatus to unfairly sway public opinion. In fact, earlier this week, there were documents presented to the Thai court that appear to confirm the existence of information operations organized by some parts of the Thai military to denigrate political activists. Therefore, the priority for us over the next few years must go beyond simply protecting free speech online, but also coming up and designing tangible measures to combat the spread of state-backed disinformation or misinformation campaigns. And the third and final important battleground, I feel, for us democracy defenders is the battle of ideas. Given today's geopolitical situation and the supposed economic success of certain clearly undemocratic political systems, we have to admit that the concept of democracy itself has its doubters and critics, perhaps even more so than before. They would tell you that democracy can sometimes be slow at making decisions. They will tell you democracy can sometimes lead to economic inequalities. They will tell you that democracy can sometimes result in electing self-serving populists. Now, of course, we here at the Asia Democracy Assembly know that these problems are far worse without democracy. We know that solutions to these problems can be found within the limits of a democracy. But not everyone outside this room may agree. Therefore, we Democrats must not stop at trying to redesign our democracy. We need to think hard about how to redesign our public participation processes to ensure that they can arrive quickly at making decisions while still maximizing our core values of inclusivity and deliberation. We must also think hard about redesigning our political institutions to ensure that when elected representatives fail to represent the people, the answer is always more democracy and never less democracy. The answer is to give people more direct powers, not a reason to steer away from elections. This global battle for democracy in any country will not be won by preaching to the choir, but by winning the hearts and minds of our critics and by converting these doubters into believers. So to end this note, everyone, I am fully well aware that winning these three key battlegrounds will not be easy. I do not know for sure how quickly we can reverse this democratic backsliding. But what I do know for sure is that we do not stand a chance if we do not collaborate. We do not stand a chance if Democrats in and outside Parliament do not collaborate. We do not stand a chance if Democrats in every corner of the world do not collaborate. And we do not stand a chance if Democrats across the left and right side of the spectrum do not collaborate. I know we all have differences. At the end of the day, differences of opinion and diversity is what gives us strength. But please do also be aware that somewhere in this world, probably in a very similar room to ours, it's likely that some autocrats are also convening, are also having an assembly, learning from each other, discussing with each other, innovating on how to retain their grip on power and kill off democracies in every corner of the world. So I urge all of us here today to make the best use of this Asia Democracy Assembly, to listen to each other's stories, to learn from each other's successes and failures, and together stand tall and united in defending our democracy. Thank you very much.